Hello, my boyos. So, I was thinking the other day because here in New York, a lot of the houses are reaching almost $1 million, right? Now, this is in spite of, the crime that's going away. I mean, just look at the biggest case that happened recently with the bodega owner defending himself from a man who could pick him up like a baby and slam him and choke slam him with like probably like one hand, right? Because he's a citizen. Because the victim was a senior citizen, and then you got the Soros. Hope YouTube doesn't blacklist this video. Backed district attorney trying to put this man in jail for $500,000 because apparently defending yourself is one of the greatest crimes in American history. Well, how much did he try to put a bail on him? 500,000, almost $500,000. I think he was trying to put, and that got some coverage because that's insane. But when you see that happening, you gotta consider that one, the district attorney, like he's probably been doing this and getting away with it, right? And only this time, like this isn't the first time. This isn't his first rodeo. Is what I'm trying to say. He's probably putting more innocent people in jail, and that's not getting coverage, right? And he's letting just crazy people out. People are getting murdered in the subway. No one here in New York trusts the subway, right? So I think it's very funny, right? It's actually really weird because you got these people who are trying to get us off gasoline and cars, right? But at the same time, they're letting these criminals run amok in the public transportation. So if you fear for your life taking public transportation, what are you more likely to do? Right? So you got these elite trying to push green, but also have their cake and eat it too, but not by not even giving us a safe place to live and commute and pay our taxes by working. It's really weird how they still want to create this crazy society where criminals are running free, but at the same time, like they want to defund the police, right? Now look, police. My view on them is ambivalent because there's good and bad, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, blue lives matter. I mean, let's be realistic here. That it takes a specific kind of person to join. Well, two specific kinds, right? The people who go in planning to abuse, and there's the people like me who wanted to do good, but maybe I would have been corrupt. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I can't predict the future, but to be honest, I just probably would have quit before I've done something crazy like that. So then there's actually three people: the people who can't stand the corruption and they leave, and then there's one who just joins the corruption, but after trying to do good, and then there's the third one. I mean the second one. Fuck I already said three numbers. Fuck you. All right. So what's the point of this topic today, right? So the houses are rising, quote unquote. I'm not gonna say in value, right? But the price that they're selling for is greater, right? There's a key distinction I'm making here. The value of the home, given its location in New York, is not more valuable than it was 10 years ago. However, because of this secret mystical force that the people in power are, I'm not even just going to say the president. It's like, why isn't Congress fighting against this? You know what I mean? Like, for every what do you call it? Executive order this man does. Congress has a power to be like, hey, or the Supreme Court, hey. It's called balance and checks, like checks of balance, whatever the fuck. I can't even get it right. My point is, it's like we have two other branches of government that act as stopgates. You honestly think Biden actually has this much power? They only have this much power as much as the two other branches allow it, and they're just bending over backwards. So it's not just the executive branch that's going on here, guys. Just like, look how hard it was for Trump to get the wall done. Who was stopping them? Congress. Where are these Republicans? They keep on saying, "Oh, the election, the election, the election." If the Democrats are so evil, like, why aren't any significant changes being done, and why are they keeping getting in power? You know what I mean? And I think it's because they're not fucking doing anything, the Republicans. But that's not the point I'm discussing, right? I just discussed like 4 different topics. So as I said before, the number is rising up, but not the value, right? More houses, in fact, what is it? Closed sales, so less homes are being sold. So what does that tell you? If less homes are being sold, but somehow, some way, the number that's associated with it is rising, what does that tell you? Inflation. Okay. Now I want you to consider something. Okay. Now, 9 out of 10, no, 9.5 out of 10 tax laws, 99.999999% of tax laws are just plain evil. Look at it like this, okay? You got income tax. You got so your money is taxed coming to you, okay? And you got property tax. The money is being taxed leaving you. You got sales tax. The money's being taxed leaving you. New York is one of the, like, I think the 15. I don't know how many states. I know when I first Googled it, like, which was like 5 years ago. It might be more now, but it's one of the 5 states that taxes digital goods. For example, Steam. If you buy from Steam, you're being charged sales tax. So that $60 game that literally like costs like almost nothing to give to me. When I say give, I mean to allow me to use. I paid for it, right? The license to use is being. I have to pay New York $5. Why? Fuck you, dude. Right? Fuck you. Like, I want my $5 back. Anyway, so sales tax. And then I don't own a business. I'm pretty sure there's like 7 different taxes. And then the fines and the fees. Some places you have to pay for parking, so that's a tax. That's considered. If my money is going straight to the government, that's a tax. You have to pay almost 150. 150 for registration, and then like you have to. Well, this doesn't go to the or it might, but you have to take your car to the mechanic for a brake tag. I think that's like $40. I don't know if the mechanic has to go to them, has to give some of that money to them. We'll just assume half of it because he is doing a job. He's doing a labor. So that's almost $200 to have a car, right? Like all these taxes. Now, again, why am I bringing all this up? So you look at this number. What is an inheritance tax? Inheritance tax is saying, fuck your generational wealth. Fuck what your family brought in, 10 years ago. No, I'm sorry, like 3 generations ago. Okay, so you look at this number and you say, wow, 61 million. I'm sorry, 6.1 million. And you're like, wow, that's nothing. I mean, like, you're probably, you don't think that's nothing, obviously. But you're like, oh, I'm never going to reach that number. But what did I just tell you? I just told you that the number, I don't want to say value because these houses are in a worse location. Like, less houses are selling because people don't want to live here. So it's not more valuable. But the dollar number, don't want to use the word value, the dollar number is rising. Right? So essentially what's happening is this is why inflation is horrible, right? Because we have a system of tax brackets, right? So if you make 100,000, I think, I don't know if this is specific to New York or also, I know federal has also, tax brackets. So let's just use an example. You make 50,000, you are taxed 10%. Which is almost like, it's too much, right? 10%. Now you get a promotion. You're making $20,000 more. You're making 70. Now 10% of 70 is more than 10% of 50, but we have a progressive tax system, so they're like, you know what? We're gonna bump that 10% to 15%. Okay, so now they're taking more of more money. Right? So it's like they're already pushing you down, and then they try to poise it as like, oh, you know, it's for the rich people. The rich people gotta pay the taxes. But at the end of the day, this is more impactful for the people in the middle, right? Not fucking. You think Bill Gates is getting fucked over by this shit? Not as much as the people in the middle, to be honest with you, right? So these people are trying to move up. You're taking more of more, right? So you're even if 10% of 70,000 is more than 10% of 50, but because you want to bring everybody down, you gotta take more of more, 15%. Okay, so now here is where the inflation really gets fucked up. Okay, 100. Let's say now because of inflation, 70,000 is basically worth 50,000. The same things your lifestyle has now downgraded $20,000 less because of inflation, right? So you're still getting taxed at 15%. You think Mayor De Blasio? I can't say De Blasio, but let's be honest. Adams and De Blasio are all these like mayors are almost interchangeable. Like they're not doing anything better. Like they're both just as bad. Except the one thing I would say, Adams doesn't really give a shit about the vaccine anymore. I maybe De Blasio would still be harping on that shit. He needs 2 vaccines in his butt cheeks and 1 in the middle. But anyway, you really think Eric Adams is like, oh man, inflation means that even though the lifestyle is the same, these people are still in a higher tax bracket. Right? So even though their buying power is less and their lifestyle is less, they're still in a higher tax bracket. So they're still taking more of more, but now it's less. So you understand what I'm saying? So you look at this, you're like, oh, my family's never gonna accrue. I don't know how to pronounce the word. 6 million worth of estate. It doesn't matter. With inflation, your one house might be worth 6 million. Your car might be worth 6 million. Now this might even be I mean, oh, look at fucking Japan with the yen. Dude, it's like 10, how much is like 1,000 yen for like a candy bar? 1 yen, $1, $1 US is 148 yen. Okay? Now, this is important. What is the buying power of more than $1? Which is kind of like here in New York, to be honest. It's like $1.50 now. Like you can't get. Look at inflation, dude. It's impacting these kids. These kids can't just be like, "Mom, can I have $1?" And they just go to like. That's what I used to do as a kid. Be like, "Oh, can I get $1?" And then I would just buy this candy for $1, and then fuck, that was awesome. But now it's like $1.05. Now it's $1.49. 29, 39. Like I've seen it. I have a sweet tooth. I've literally seen it rise from $1 to like $1.29 in high school, $1.39, and now it's like $1.50. Like everything now, $1.50. And look, even in Japan, this is if $1 is 148, then 180 is like almost 120, right? So that's the problem, right? So look, imagine if now they've probably adjusted it, right? The yen tax brackets, but how much confidence do you have in our legislators to be like, oh man, we need to bring the brackets down? You think that's their priority? You think they really give a shit? You think that's their priority? Oh man, 100. Look at this guy. He's making 100,000, and it's like 100,000 has the same buying power as it did of a guy who was making 50,000 10 years ago. Now, yeah, so fuck these tax brackets. Like, let's be honest, dude. The super rich, they just pay the legislators for loopholes, and then they don't even get taxed. So, like, you don't, like, oh, tax the rich, tax rich. Taxing the rich requires confidence in the legislators not being bought out. That's the problem. So, when I say just forget the taxes, like, oh, forget the fucking rich, if on the condition that you tax everybody else less, it's not like, oh, what do these Republicans always say? Like, oh, the rich pay their fair share. It's not even that. I just have no confidence that the rich are actually paying their share, and I have no confidence in the legislators actually, not being bought out. Right? So that's what it is.